And welcome to the second hour of Tracks Momentum. It's Talk to Me Nice Thursdays, and not just only Talk to Me Nice Thursdays, it's face-to-face Thursdays on the show where we bring on experts to talk about pressing matters in the country. And today we're going to talk about a pressing issue that affects many Malaysians because recently the Madani government announced a targeted diesel subsidy system which is aiming to ensure that the specific needs of Malaysians are met, and they also want to ensure that the subsidy reaches the people who really need them the most. But however, there seems to be some form of a leakage, especially when there are some concerns raised for the price of diesel being a little bit more higher in our neighboring ASEAN countries. And to help us navigate through this topic that we have today, which is the impact of the subsidy leakage, I have in the studios today Professor Dr. Baharom bin Abdul Hamid. He's a regular over here at TRAXX, and he's today going to talk to us about the impact of subsidy leakage. Prof, good morning and welcome.
I'm most happy to be back in the studio again.
Of course, the last time around we were speaking on the budget.
Yeah, this is a very sensitive issue, a very controversial issue.
Yes. So I would like to start things off first by, setting the narrative, the new diesel subsidy system and, its potential issues. It's clear that the Madani government is deeply concerned about, the welfare of the rakyat, especially during, these trying times. And several initiatives have been implemented to support the public with this diesel subsidy that we have just seen. But could you, Prof, tell us more about these initiatives and how is it that they reflect on the government's commitment towards the well-being of the rakyat, Professor?
Okay, first of all, let us look at some numbers. In 2019, diesel subsidy stands at 1.9 billion ringgit. Fast forward 2023, it has bloated to 15 billion ringgit. That's a huge amount. Secondly, it's a blanket subsidy. That means it was enjoyed by everybody. We were not so concerned about the rakyat enjoying it. After all, they are the Malaysian people, the Malaysian rakyat. However, the concern was it was enjoyed by some other unscrupulous section.
Right.
People coming from the north border, southern border, enjoying our cheaper, much cheaper diesel. So these are what we call leakages. So the government decided that we wanted to put this subsidy to a right use. We want to give it to a targeted those who in need and who are supposed to be assisted. So that's why they come out with this targeted. But if we just go back a few steps, the government wants to have a proper database which was called PADU.
Yes.
That was supposedly the mother of all database. That means every single government assistance, be it the cash assistance, be it the diesel assistance, be it the school assistance, and every single thing supposedly to be on PADU. Okay. However, the response has been lukewarm to the best. But now we need to kick off this diesel subsidy in order for us to save about 10 billion a year. So that's why we have to come up with a new system immediately, which is called Budi, where it is specifically focused on those who are consuming diesel and to identify who supposedly to be assisted and should enjoy the subsidy and take out everybody else.
Okay. Professor, you're an economic analyst at the International Center for Education in Islamic Finance University, INCEIF. So I want to get your expert opinion. Prof, how do you think can these initiatives be targeted to the right group, and how is it that we can ensure that it can be executed smoothly without any form of leakages in benefit of hindsight, like we're having this conversation now?
Okay. First of all, there are 3 layers of assistance through this Budi platform. Okay. The first one is the identified sectors, logistics, the transportation, the food and beverage. That side. These people, including fishermen, these people will enjoy subsidized diesel using fleet card. Okay. The second is targeting the smallholders. These people will enjoy a cash incentive of 200 ringgit per month to mitigate their monthly usages. And the third sector is the individual who are using diesel vehicle, who are below 100,000 ringgit income per annum. They will also be given a 200 ringgit subsidy or cash assistance to mitigate. So the first sector is showing how the government is concerned and they want the price level to remain as it is. So there should not be any reason for anybody to increase their prices.
Okay.
I know there have been on social media numerous examples of people increasing the prices. This is a total different scenario to what happened in way back about 15 years ago during the previous Prime Minister Abdul Badawi increased the petrol price. This is totally a different scenario. What is happening now is only a few isolated industries or sectors, for example, the concrete mixers, tow trucks, the tourism sector.
Tourism operators.
Operators. But coming back to the tourism operators, this is quite unique. So the government is saying the subsidized diesel should be enjoyed by the Malaysian people.
Right.
So this tourism industry, the buses, the tour buses, mostly cater for foreigners.
Foreign tourists.
So the government is saying it's okay if you want to pass the bulk to the foreigners. You want to increase the price. We are more concerned about the Malaysian people. So having taken into all those that into context, the inflation should be very negligible, unless there are some people who wants to profiteer from this. These unscrupulous people, enforcement should be there.
Okay. And speaking about this diesel subsidy, of course, a common person would think that there are many things that would need subsidy. Diesel is not one of them. Maybe rice or so many other things. Why do you think was diesel a choice to be subsidized, Prof?
Diesel was a choice to be subsidized. It was because it was easier. It was one of those easiest that we can target.
Okay.
Number one. And if you could remember, if you could see carefully, Sabah Sarawak was not included in this exercise. Why? If you look at the nature of the landscape in Sabah Sarawak, people on the street or daily people uses diesel transport for their daily transportation. So we would not want to affect that. But in the Malaysian context, we have a fantastic infrastructure. Only very rich people uses private diesel vehicle. So diesel is easier to target because, number one, it can be controlled in the pump. That means, once you have said that this is the subsidized, this is the fleet card who enjoys, everybody else pay the pump, then it is easier said to be done.
I see. So it's more of a management issue. It's easier to manage the targeted subsidy, yeah? Okay. Let's jump in for a quick break. Today on Face to Face, I'm speaking to Professor Dr. Baharom bin Abdul Hamid, an economic analyst at the International Center for Education in Islamic Finance, INCEIF University, that is, and he's today talking to us about the impact of the subsidy leakage. That's a diesel subsidy. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Face to face on Tracks Momentum. My name is Anil on the mic, and today in the studios I'm speaking to Professor Dr. Baharom bin Abdul Hamid, an economic analyst at the International Center for Education in Islamic Finance University, INCEIF University as it's called, and he's today talking to us about the impact of the subsidy leakage. Professor, welcome back to Face to Face.
Thanks.
Now, Professor, you're going to tell us now and explain to us in detail, an in-depth explanation. Of course, on the surface, we know subsidy leakage as, some people who are perpetrating the system and trying to steal whatever that's being afforded to for Malaysians only. But give us a deeper understanding of what actually is a subsidy leakage.
Okay, first of all, let us look at what is actually a subsidy. A subsidy is what we call similar to a negative tax. Subsidy is given to the rakyat to mitigate their cost or their loss.
Right.
When we say subsidy leakage means when the subsidy is enjoyed by those who are not supposed to enjoy. For example, foreigners. For example, smugglers, who are taking advantages of these price differences. It's not a secret. Everybody knows that our subsidized diesel is almost half the price of our neighboring countries. And they have been using this for arbitrage purposes. They come into from the northern side, from the southern side. They come into our country, buy diesel in a bulk, and they enjoy. So this is what we call leakage. Leakage means a subsidy which is enjoyed by not a responsible party or a party which is not stipulated to receive the subsidy.
Okay.
And it's a huge amount. It's a huge amount. And you can see immediately after the government pull or plug out the subsidy, all the neighboring petrol pumps in the northern, in Kelantan, in Kedah, suddenly become, like a ghost town. Which was, so this shows that we have made the right decision. So what we want to do, we want to plug the leakage. Why we want to plug the leakage? So that this money can be used for other rightful purpose.
Okay. Now, if this leakage is not, sort of plugged up or covered, will this impact us economically, Professor?
It will definitely impact us because it is a hard-earned government money, which means the hard-earned rakyat money, which has been drained out of the system. Okay. So we want our money to remain in our economy. We want it to be used for other purposeful like education, health, and otherwise. Okay. But now what is happening is there has been spillage here and there. And diesel is only one of them. We have many more to explore and implore later.
And can you describe to us the impact of the present leakage conditions?
The impact of the present leakage condition, it runs into billions. Like I said, it is estimated for the diesel subsidy alone, which is about 30 to 40% are leakages. And if you multiply that equates about 7 to 8 billion ringgit. Imagine you have extra 7 to 8 billion ringgit, which you can use to a better purpose.
Okay. And is the move that's taken by the Madani government to curb the subsidy leakage, which is supposed to benefit the rakyat, do you think it's a timely one?
It's better late than never. Number one, it is not going to be a populist move.
Right.
Definitely, it needs a lot of willpower. If we look carefully, like I said, I'm not a politician. I do not want to sound like a politician but I said this is a bold move.
Right.
And this is a bold move, this is a right move. The later we implement this, the more money would be spilled out. So I think it's very rightly timed. In fact, I would say it's a bit late. But however, better late than never. And it takes a bold move. I know the temperatures are rising outside there. However, I would like to use this to encourage the communication minister to come up with the right communication, transmit to the people why we are doing this. How much are we saving? Where are we rechanneling? Yeah. So then only people will understand.
Do you think technology can play a role in overseeing the dissemination of this diesel subsidy? Definitely,
especially in the era of what we call the social media, TikTok, and all those. This is where the communication ministry should be engaging with their own army, of cyber troopers, for the better thing, for the good things. What I mean is communication in a simple language, measurable. What is important is measurable. They want numbers. For example, how much we can save per day, how much we can save per month, where are we channeling it. So in a infographic, illustrative, and I think the rakyat would understand.
Right. Okay. Let's jump in for another quick break. Today on Face to Face, I'm speaking to Professor Dr. Baharom bin Abdul Hamid, an economic analyst at the International Center for Education in Islamic Finance. And we're today talking about the impact of the subsidy leakage. Don't go anywhere. Face to Face, we'll be right back. You and welcome back to Face to Face on Tracks Momentum. My name is Anil on the mic, and today Face to Face with me is Professor Dr. Baharom bin Abdul Hamid, an economic analyst at the International Center for Education in Islamic Finance, INCEIF University, as it's called. And Professor Dr. Baharom is today talking to us about the impact of subsidy leakage. So earlier on, before the break, we touched on what really is the subsidy leakage and what are the fields where it's most rampant and how this leakage will impact Malaysia's economy. And now we shall resume with the conversation. Professor, welcome back to the discussion. Now, Professor, in light of the government's recent economic initiatives, there is anticipation regarding whether, when these efforts will begin to yield significant results for the rakyat, and it hit its optimal trajectory, so to speak, right? So could you provide us with some insights into the timeline and some of the factors that will contribute to the realization of these initiatives so that it reaches its full economic potential, Prof?
Okay, Anil, thank you, Anil. First of all, I'll say there are three different time horizons here.
Okay.
One is immediate. Immediate means even 24 hours after the implementation, you could see how many liters were pumped, how many ringgit was saved. That's an immediate.
Right.
On an intermediate, I would say at the end of the year, and we can say, or half year, we can say for the first half of the year, we have saved this much. But much more than that, the government should not only be looking at the diesel being pumped and so on. The government should also be looking at, are there any negative implication? What about the price level? If there is an increase, then the government should be transparent. And the government should place its roles in enforcing some unscrupulous profiteering and so on. But the transparency is very important here.
Okay.
Like I said, there are immediate savings that you could even calculate today. There are intermediate, maybe we can do half yearly, and maybe at the end of the year, and then you should be reporting back to the rakyat, because what we have done, this is much we have saved, the collateral damage is this much. Show both sides of the coin.
Okay, so regular updates so that the rakyat is aware of what's happening with the subsidy program. Touching back on the subsidy leakage, Prof, that's happening regionally, we mentioned earlier about the price of diesel being way much more higher compared to in our neighboring countries compared to how it is here in Malaysia. Do you think there should be some intergovernmental roles played by the ASEAN regions to enhance their cooperation so this can be curbed? Do you think any way that can help?
This is quite difficult, why, and being here, this is what we call rational behavior. You see, the other countries would be interested to join if it is detrimental to their rakyat.
Right.
But in this case, it's beneficial to their
beneficial
rakyat.
for them, right?
Okay, so same goes for if you say the haze control. Why until today we cannot find a intergovernmental role? Because slash and burn mitigate the cost. It's the easy way out. So we have to understand the rational behavior. So it's very difficult to look for an
intergovernmental ASEAN cooperation on that level. So we need to start here itself, here in the peninsula. And your words of advice for our listeners who are tuning in right now, Prof.
Okay, my word of advice is, first of all, look at the whole issue rationally. Remember, this is for the betterment of not only the current generation of the people, of the rakyat, but also the future generation. Remember, the whole idea of rational, targeted subsidy is to optimize the welfare of the rakyat.
Okay.
I really hope there would not be anybody outside there who would be racketing or profiteering out of this. Neither would they be involved in just spreading out. If everybody starts saying price is going up, price is going up, price is going up, everybody would raise the price. Please go back to the right source of information. Make sure you're getting your information from a valid and reliable source.
It's a very common thing over here, isn't it? When we head over to a restaurant to enjoy a meal and we suddenly experience a price hike, the first excuse would be, petrol prices have gone up. And then now, are they going to say that that's because the diesel prices have gone up? We're not sure about that. Professor, thank you very much for setting aside your time, for being with us today on Face to Face. Is there anything else that you wish to add before I let you go for the day?
Okay, I just wish to add that, remember, the logistics are continuing to enjoy the subsidized rate. So there should not be any reasons for inflation.
Yeah.
Even if there is, it should be very negligible.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Baharom bin Abdul Hamid. He just helped us navigate through this complex topic of the impact of the subsidy leakage right here on Face to Face on Trax Momentum. If you missed out on this interview, you worry not. You can always catch the replay by visiting TRAXXfm official's YouTube page or our official Facebook page as well.